now that you've seen the walkthrough, we're going to start on the construction of the folio. And you're going to want to start with 4 base pieces that measure 7 by 7. So you'll want 4 of these. Now I started with 16 sheets of black cardstock. So I'm going to get better about my count, I promise. After you cut 4, so these are our bases that'll go down onto our folio. Remember, a folio is not a hinged book, so it's always good to have a base and to build on it and then put it in your folio. You're going to have 4 pieces that are the 12 by 5, and we'll be using that to construct this first part. So you're going to see a lot of your cardstock being used and not wasted. So I'm going to set this to the side for a moment. So that flap that comes open, that's a half page flap. It measures 4 3/4, so I did cut it down, and it's 7, so you didn't even have to cut your length. Now you will need to cut one that's 8 by 4.5. Again, I took my 5-inch and then cut it to 4.5 and then 8, because we need to, as you can see, I've already scored. Then you need one that's 8 inches by 3. Now, one thing I need to know, when I was cutting, I didn't go right to the 8. I cut it a little bit shorter, and that reason is because we have a score line gusset we're working with, and we need this not to hit that gusset. Then I cut 2 pieces that are 4 inches by the 5, and then 2 pieces that are 5 inches by 3 1/4. So that you'll be using your scraps, and you'll like how nice you get rid of those. Okay, so this basically is that flap that opens on your page, and we have the pocket, a pocket, a pocket, and then we have the pockets on the back. So let me go over the scoring again with you. On the 4 3/4 inch side, you'll score at 1/2. Let me turn this over. 1/2 and 3/4. So you're going to score at 1/2 and then at 3/4. We need that 1/4 inch gusset. On the 8 by 3, you'll score 2 ends, the short ends, at 1/2 of an inch, and then a long end at 1/2 of an inch. To build that little base, this is that becomes a pocket page. Again, I cut it short of 8, just a little bit. I don't go right to the 8, and it's the 4.5 inch. We're going to score at 1/2 inch on 2 short ends and along the bottom. Okay, now these that are 3 1/4 by 5, these are going to become pockets. Again, I did not cut it right at the 5. And let me show you something. This is that flap that's going to open, and we want pockets inside. So I'm going to lay this right here at the 1 inch. I want to lay this piece down. And this is how I figure out if it's going to hit. Now I can see, is it going to get in the way of that gusset, of that score line, because we know that we're going to take away 1 inch of this because we're going to score 1/2 inch on each side. Kind of is. So let me check this one. That looks good. So I'm thinking it's just where I'm holding it. Fold that over if there's no interference, because we need that 1/4 inch gusset, and you don't want it to be pushing on it and look bulky. We're fine. We'll get those scored in just a moment. Now these are the flaps that will cover. And again, you need them to be matching, just a hair short maybe. Looks good. We're fine. So let's get started on these. These are the 5 inch by 4. They're just short of 4 inches. And on the 5 inch side, score at 1/2 inch for both of those. These are those pockets. So one of them, we only need to score 1/2 of an inch on the 2 short sides. That's if you want a tag that will go all the way to the bottom. This one, we need to score 1/2, 1/2 on the long and 1/2 on the short. So what we're going to do first is we want to put this flap onto the page. And to help get rid of some of the bulk, I'm going to attach this to the back side. And that's going to get rid of some of the bulk on the top of the page. Plus, it's going to make it easier when we build our other pockets. Folios I think they're really nice. They kind of give you a little bit more of a flat surface to work on. They actually, I think, give more possibilities of building on your page because you're not working with a hinge that you have to account for. But I do like my folios to be hard covered. I've made lots of them that aren't, and I found they just don't wear. It's just much better if you do have a chipboard cover. I mean, they wear, they're okay. They're just not holding up as well as if they were chipboard. Okay, we're centering it there so we have a gusset. And we're going to make sure it's on here straight. I just need to turn the heat on. Just gets kind of cold when you're sitting. And I'm just folding that 1/4 inch over, and I'm going to just kind of re-burnish it so that it now knows its new place because it's now got some bulk there. One thing I do not want to forget on this folio are my magnets. This will have magnets, but then we've got, I need to turn this down. We have pockets that are going to go here on the inside. So we need to wait till those pockets are down, and then it will be placed over here. So I haven't forgotten, and I won't. So our next thing is going to be our 4.5 by 8 inch piece, and we've already scored 1/2 inch on each side. And I'm just going to burnish this before I put it down. Now this is going to sit on the inside. So what I'm looking for is when I hold this here, and one thing that's handy is to grab a clothespin, click one side, flip the other, and that'll give you an idea if anything's hanging over. You know me, I don't like things hanging over the edge. And it's fine. Now if it's hanging over the edge, you say, well, I just grab this and pull it a little bit and re-burnish pushing. And usually it's just enough. If it's absolutely not going to work, just cut a new pocket because we'll be using it again on something else. So let's now cut our corners. Try not to cut into that score line where it intersects there. You don't want holes. And we don't want bulk, so we wanted to try and make this as flat as possible because we need a gusseted pocket so it will hold more. Now that will help with no bulk. I'm going to put my scraps over to the side. I need a little portable garbage can on the side so I can just cut everything into. Okay, now we can grab this. Okay, now it's going to sit right on top of that 1/4 inch score line, but we're also going to check now to make sure our page is not too long. And I know a lot of maybe thinking that's a lot of extra checking, but you know, from years of experience and woodworking with my husband, you measure twice, cut once, and I've made so many mistakes that, trust me, I know. So this is hanging over the edge a little bit. And it has to be refigured. There's not a lot you can do because once we score it and then bend our paper, it does change. And it just depends on how you have folded it. Now, I'd rather that would be shorter than longer in the back. Okay, so this is going to open this way. So now I think I am all ready to put this down. All right. So we know the closed end goes down at that 1/4 inch score line where that gusset is. Get glue all over again. I'm going to use clothespins for this because it's a little different. It's long is the reason. And that helps me, there we go, get a hold of one side and then the other. And the art glue dries so fast. Just needed a little extra there to hold on. Now see, I've left about 1/8 of an inch. No, about 1/16 of an inch up above the score line. Get everything burnished down well. I'm happy with it. Wow. It doesn't always happen the first time with these kind of pockets. Now see, this will be really fun because you'll be able to put in, we'll put our tags in there, our photo tags. Now I'm going to open this. Remember, it's opening this way. So I'm just going to turn it this way. It's easier for me to work on. I can see this 1/4 inch score line. And we have that other piece. Remember this one? It's our shorter one, and it's the 3 inches. This is going to be our outer pocket. Again, just check your size if you're happy with it. Nothing worse than gluing a pocket down and finding out you're not happy. Now I want to also check the height. And that's where I wanted it. And I have to tell you this video, I wasn't going to do it this soon after the other one, but I have a special friend I'm making it for. And she had asked if I would give her the other one, and I'm like, no. The other Perfect Christmas I just made. And so, but I told her I'd make her a special one because I did need to make another tutorial. I'm just cutting those pesky corners off. I needed to make another tutorial. I actually was going to do this with the Cartabella Cowboy. So you might see this again, or who knows, I might get another wild idea for the cowboy one. Or the giddy up. And so I told her I would make it. And I thought, what a perfect opportunity. Let's get up another Christmas folio before Christmas. Okay. This one is really made to hold a lot of pictures. She has, I know, teenage daughters. And that's the stage, you know, you still want to get those memories. Again, just leave it fairly above that score line. Oh, I was forced to use paper towels during a tutorial last night. I didn't dry out my wet wipes, and I'll tell you what a difference. Let me get my good bone folder. There we go. Much nicer. There really is a difference with your bone folders. Okay, so now we are going to have a spot here for the tag we'll make that'll have pictures. Then we'll have a spot here for actually quite a few tags are going to be able to fit in there for pictures. So we will definitely make a long one that'll fit a nice 4x6. So before we move on, I'm just pushing this back on that 1/4 inch, kind of re-burnishing those score lines. Remember, if you're using a really good cardstock, you won't have any issues. So what we need to do, though, is these flaps have to go down first because our pocket needs to sit on top. So the flaps that are the 4.5 by just barely 4, we need to put those down next. Now, you'll notice it might hang over the edge where your pocket ends, and that's perfectly fine. And miter those corners. Match it so it matches your edges. I'll turn it upside down just to put the other one on. Okay. Went too soon. Think that, because, you know, being in the basement gets pretty cold, I think I'm going to start taking my art glue upstairs at night. I think it does get a little cold. When I first get down here. Now, that's going to be so nice for your pictures, even though you'll cut them to fit, but that's really a nice place. Okay, let's put our pockets on. Again, we have the 2 short sides that we scored. Awesome. Looks like everything's just going to line up. So we're not going to put this one down quite yet. This is the one we only scored 1/2 inch on each side. Sorry, I just think that I'm being so noisy with this bone folder today. All right. One thing we want to do is determine the placement of our pockets. Oh, goodness. Let's see, my phone was ringing. Okay, I'll be right back. This piece, I forgot, we don't need it so long. Let's go ahead and cut this down to 2.5. don't need that excess, and that's still going to be a little bit of excess. So this will go down like so. Now when it comes to matting, see, we'll mat here, we'll mat here, and we'll mat here. Now one thing to determine is how far apart you want each pocket. Do you want them to be kind of even? That looks great. Do you want space up there? Once I get that determination, then I take and I just make a mark. I don't know if you can see that or not. Now this guy is going to go down first. This is the one that has the open bottom. And I have my pencil mark so I know where to end it. Now this one we do need to go ahead and cut those corners just like we did on those other pockets. I'm not going to worry about mitering the corners because we're going to be matting this. Now it's going to sit just above your flap score line. On your cover. We're straight there. Okay, now when we bring our flap up from the bottom, you'll notice a little bit of bulk there. So what I do is I just push back. This one you won't have it. There you go. And I just kind of make that new score line area. And then once again, you'll have a place where your tag will go all the way down. So let's go ahead and check that. I forgot to grab my spatula. My little one, let's go ahead and go, in there. There we go. Adhesive here on the side. I kind of lifted it when I went in there with my, there we go. And you can see I can get it down to the bottom. Nothing stuck together. There we are. Now you'll be able to put a tag all the way through. And then we'll be able to have some short ones. I'm going to double check. It feels like it was sticking on something, but it's not. That's the way it's supposed to be. Okay, so now here's where we need to have a magnet, because we do need the magnet to close here, but then we want it to close here. And so we don't want to have to use 2 sets, but we will be using 3 magnets. So the first thing we're going to do is do our magnet on this one. I'm using the large basic gray. And then we'll need one more. It will then hook over on this side, but we need to build our pockets for that side first. And one thing I'm looking for is that nothing is too close to the edge, because we want to be able to cover our magnets completely around with our paper. And for this one, because these are really strong, I'm going to put that there. Now see, we will be able to take, it's going to be a negative. One more, it'll grab, then we'll place that over to the side, and it's going to hold everything down nice and neat. That's going to be really cool. Okay. Oh, and I'm doing. It's just pushing back, just checking my score lines that everything is still lined up perfect the way we want it. Now we are good to go, and we can start building the top piece of our base here. For me, I just used the last two pieces of the scraps from when I cut the 4 7x7s. And these are the 7x5. So I had to cut one to 7x5. These are going to be the flaps that will be here on the inside. So we've got to, again, remember we have a gusset there. Sometimes you do have to cut these a little shorter. So I will take just a hair off. Enough that I don't have anything hang over. Then I did cut a new piece of 12x12, so I needed a 8x4 and then an 8x3. We have the 2 pockets here on the inside. Just like we made our smaller pockets, we're going to go ahead and score 1/2 inch just on the 3-inch one, our shorter one, on each side. Now the thing to remember again is I cut these two the same. So I'm going to just start with this one. Because I want to check my sizing. We do not want it to go again into that gusset. Perfect. I'm happy. So, oops, once again, I cut it just before the 8 inches. I don't put my paper all the way to 8 inches. I just back it up a hair. Not quite. So if I was to give you a measurement, it would be actually in between my 7 7/8 and my 8. I would just back it up a little. So I hope that makes sense. Whenever I cut my inside pieces, I always cut them that way. So if I forget to mention it, you'll know. I don't cut them exact. You can't cut them exact. So this one with the 1/2 inch on the bottom, of course, will go on the bottom. So let's furnish this one really well. And let's just do our placement. And let's see where you're thinking you want these to hit. So once again, one will sit on top. See, and you can pre-build them that way, but you have to cut them different, and I don't. You just have to cut the top one a little shorter. Then you end up with matting issues. Okay, so I did the scoring. We're going to set those aside for just a moment, and we need to do our flaps. They're going to have to go on first, as you know, when you're doing pockets and you want them to cover. So we want to score these at 1/2 inch. I'm going to go ahead and do 3/8, 1/2 inch and 5/8. We're going to go ahead and put a gusset on these. Just a tiny one to get over that edge. So this one can be a little bit more tricky. It's just going to be a little one that will allow us expansion room. They're a little harder to, there we go, manipulate. Have a good burnish, and then if you're using the linen cardstock, don't be afraid to give that a good burnish. There, now we've got that little gusset. Because your linen cardstock can take it. So let's start with this edge here. Push back. Like I said, this is a little difficult when it comes to that little eighth of an, there we go, inch, just getting it started. This is such a heavy cardstock. There we go. And pull there. Pull it so that it's straight. Push back. Let's burnish again. And then checking to make sure it's straight. Now push against that 1/8 because we want to make sure we don't accidentally glue this part down and lose our gusset. So I just push up. Wow, it's getting time to fill my bottle of art glue. There we go. And remember, you want that gusset there. And then we'll go ahead and get that all burnished down. So it's, I have mine burnished down. And so now we have our flaps. And then you can see we'll have that one magnet. So before I do put down my pockets, I do just want to double check things here to make sure, yep, things are going to be where we want them to be. Now we'll reverse our flaps. And even though that's just touching on that top flap, it's enough to put it the weight down. We'll put it there. If you're not happy with it, we can always move it over to the pocket. I don't really want it to be on top of the pocket. I think that that's fine because it's pretty tight. Or actually, you can have it this way and that way. So it's not pulling so much on that flap right there. Okay, for the pockets, we had already lined them up somewhat, and then I had to answer that phone call. So I did make a mark with my pencil. It's probably hard to see where my top one goes. And we're going to do that just like we did over on our small one. Oh, I've already mitered those edges. Goodness, you know, it's winter, but allergies with the furnace coming on now. The allergies are starting up. So excuse the hacking and the coughing. I just also went up and took an allergy pill. Sudafed. Hopefully we'll get this under control. And then, you know, the heat's on. So we have those allergens floating around. We do have the purifier. But then we also have our windows open at night. I know it's crazy, but we have the fan, the windows open at night, and then the heat goes. Mostly because part of the other house is cold. Our bedroom gets so hot. We just can't all seem to be on the same temperature in this house. All right, so I made sure first everything was going to glide through this time. All right, so we have our 3 sides. Again, making sure we have that little 1/8 of an inch gusset. Line everything up right and left. Okay, I'm going to really burnish those down. And my hands are just freezing. Oh, can't get the whole body warm at once. That looks fine. I just need to now glue that back down since I loosened it. We did some live tutorials on Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creation. Well, I do them all the time, but this last week. And I had some new comments from new members saying that their art glitter glue was causing wrinkling and whatnot in the paper. And, you know, I'm going to have to tell you, I think it might be the paper. So it just depends. You don't want to use a lot of the art glue. But no, I don't have wrinkling. But then I'm using quite heavier products. So it could be if you're using, definitely. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. I forgot. I keep wanting to mention it, so it's kind of like squirrel. I just remembered. And then this little spatula is really going to help you get down in those when you do double pockets, because sometimes along these edges, the glue will seep out, and then we have an issue there. So that will close. And we decided, didn't we? Yeah, see, that really wouldn't be that great on a pocket. Check our sides. And that is our first one finished. I'm going to add just some glue, and I'm going to clip these edges for just a moment because we're going to be starting on the second one. So this then, you know, when we cut our chipboard, the chipboard will be cut the same size and it will adhere down. Let's see what I have here for scraps. So this is 7 inches. And I do want to go ahead and get these cut because every time I don't, I regret it. So what I do is I put my, here's my pocket, that's not the pocket, put my ruler in. So we've got about 3 7/4. We knew this was 7, so I'm going to cut this down to 6 3/4. And I want it to stick out a little bit, so I'm going to go to 4. 6 3/4 by 4. I'll tell you what, 4 1/8. I don't like my mats to catch at all. Okay. This one I'm going to do 3 inches by 6 3/4. And I do have, oh, you know what I did? Oh my goodness, I was thinking, where did I get that? So I cut one of my 7 by 7s. That's okay. I'll cut another one. I should have marked those. I'll leave it to me. So 6 3/4. Oh, that was crazy. By 3. Can't count those. Now I have these 2 pieces that were left over. Let me grab them because they're perfect and they were both the same size. And oh, they were the leftovers, so they were 3 inches by 5. Put them back here behind. Great for 3 by 5 pictures. Just cut those down. And actually, this looks more. You have layers, lots of layers here. And you know, this being a scrap, I'm actually going to go ahead and cut a different one. Not my 7 by 7. Because I cut it at 4 1/8, but I want to cut it a little bit longer. So I'm going to go 4 1/4. And it's okay, because we'll be using that. We have, on the cover, we're going to have another flat that's really cool. There, I like that better. Then I'll take my little 3 inchers and I'll set those back behind. And now my mats are all ready, and I don't have to struggle to find them. And basically, we've used up all of the paper from our first set of cuttings, which is really nice. And then we do have a lot of room. Now in here, you'll have room for tags. Again, more mats. Now these aren't quite 4 inches, so I have these 2 scraps. I'm going to go ahead and cut these at 4 3/4. No, 3 3/4. Let me tell you how long. So 3 3/4. That one can go to 5. 3 3/4 by 5 and 3 3/4 by 3 1/2. Okay, that one's already 5. And with the 3 3/4, you know they're going to fit perfectly. Let's see what this scrap is. 3 3/4 by 5. This one's 5 1/4. And since these are just, you know, the scraps that were sitting over here. Okay, this one's 5 1/4. I like it better. There we go. So those are all ready. And then over here, this was the piece I just cut. So I want to go ahead and cut these at 6 3/4. That darn 1/2 inch I need to get covered with paper. So it looks like 6 inches, 4 inches. 6 inches and 4 inches. 6 3/4. So this is a nice, good size mat to go back there. You know, I used to do a method where I would tape. I think I'm going to have to go back to that method and show you guys how to tape that at the bottom. But I will be trying to get, there we go, my paper down there far enough to cover that half inch. That's kind of a pain. And there we have those nice big photo mats. There we go. And there's our first set. So let's go ahead and we'll grab our second one. And we'll start building on that piece. Okay, for the next one, so we're now working on our next 7 by 7. So we will have our pocket, and then we're going to have those, the pop opens, the breakaways, or the flaps, whatever you got. They can be called anything. So our first piece is going to be 8 inches, and it will be 4.5 inches wide. Now, I've already done this scoring because I had to do some figuring out, and I didn't want to have to do that all on camera, of course. So score 1/2 inch on your 2 short ends, 1/2 inch across the bottom, just like we made those pockets. So you're going to have a lot of practice making pockets on this video. Do it exactly the same way. Now, the difference with building this on top of a pocket is, usually I build this around a base, these 4 pieces. So when they pop open, you just have a base. And I actually think that's what we're going to do. So this part I do have to figure out. Okay, so our pocket does come out to be, our finished size is 7 by 4. So I did cut a base that's 7 by 4. And it's like perfect on there. Sort of. I'm going to trim it down just a little bit. It's just a little extra at the top. So we'll set our pocket aside. So we're going to build this on top of here, and then this will sit down. So it does cause some layers, but also because of that, I knew we needed more of a gusset on our pocket. But I want to build this all before we put it down on our base. So the base then is your 4 by 7. Make your pocket first so that you can make sure that this is going to fit sitting on top. You can build it right on here. That was my other thought. But then you do have all of the connecting parts showing, which is okay. You can cover it with paper. But I thought we'll just do it this way. So we're going to try something new. You have to have 2 pieces that are 4.5 by 7. And then on the 4.5 inch side, you're going to score both pieces at 1/2 of an inch. Then you need 2 pieces that are going to be 7.5 inches by the 4. And you're going to score on the 7.5 inch side at 1/2 of an inch because these are going to hook on the ends. I'm going to start with these ends. And what I'm going to do first is to check the width because I did cut down the base just a little bit. So you might have to just trim all these guys just a hair. And when I say hair, I mean just a hair, just like your hair. Just a tiny, tiny bit. And the same with our 4.5. That's my pocket. No, where's my pocket? Guys, how do you lose a pocket? That is the pocket. Okay, that's the base. Now, same thing here. What I do is I push that in. Now I'll put it at the 4 inches and then trim this one hair off. So just before the 4, just trim a tiny, tiny thread off, basically. And we do want to miter all these corners. Even though they're at the back side, we don't want them to stick over the edges or anywhere. I need one of those, like my serger tray for my sewing machine, where I just cut into. All right, so I'll just start with one of these end pieces. Put this on top, matching top to bottom. And then remember, you need a little bit of room. So don't put it on top of your score line. There we go, because it has to fold over. We'll just take a bottom. I'm going behind. And again, remember, you have a score line there that needs to come over. And repeat. I'm just kind of redoing the score line because I want it to be a perfect fit. And just because you've scored it, that doesn't always mean that's where you want it to go. So we just re-burnish it so it knows where it's supposed to be. Now the same with this one. Check it side to side. If you need to scoot it over, you can. You know, it wouldn't be so bad if my hands weren't so cold. Let me go this way. right. So now I have this piece going this way. This one goes this way. And I can tell that one may have been a little, there we go. And I'm taking the bottom up on this one. So we do need a magnet, preferably, because of the amount of bulk that's here. And what's cool, you've got a place now for 9 4x6 pictures. Okay, pull to the sides. That's why I think I've got a runny nose, is it's so cold. I can't get it warmed up down here. Great for the computer and camera equipment, but not for me. Okay, we have our base all built. See how it is on the back? I'm going to check my sizing just to make sure. We're good. Let's set this aside. Grab our 7x7. And we're going to put our pocket down. I don't have my packing tape. I was going to grab that. All right. And put the piece of tape along this edge. I thought there was some on my desk, and there's not. We'll be okay. Now, this just sits like in the middle. So this is basically the only thing we're going to do for this one. Because we have 4 sections. Okay. Now, because we've already put the magnet, so I'm going to remember that mine opens that way. And goes our adhesive. And down goes the flap. Okay, once you feel confident that the glue is somewhat grabbed a hold, grab our plastic putty knife. And now we can go over that, and you're all set on our middle page along with our pocket. I need to get that down some more. Okay, this seems a little odd, but we have some building to do on the base parts of our chipboard album, so we do need to get this put together now. It's going to be long. There are 4 pieces of 7x7. One of our hinges are 7 inches by 2.5, 7 inches by 1.5, and 7 inches by 1. This is my prototype, so I need to lay it out so I remember exactly which end my hinge is going. I've gone ahead and cut 12 sheets. No, I grabbed 10 more sheets of cardstock. So we started with 16, I believe. Well, I just added 10 more. And what I did is I cut 3 sheets that are 9 inches by 12. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put these together. Now, these are long, so we're going to be working quite a long piece of paper. Oh, and I'm sorry, I took a nap and now I'm awake. Sort of. Okay, I just did a video tutorial on the other folio that I did with a Perfect Christmas. So what I'm going to do here is, if you can't see anything, it's long. So like I said, it's going to be a little harder to work on. There's also that cover video. It's a smaller album, but I'm putting it together the exact same way. So if you watch that, this will be the same construction. I always do the same construction on my covers. So if for some reason something's not in camera, you can always look at that. But this is very long, very long. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of laying my pieces out right this second at intervals to see if I need another piece of cardstock. And we're going to need 4 pieces put together, just so we can place these correctly. So let me cut one more that is 9 by 12. Set my chipboard aside. Quarter-inch score tape. And then I already cut the score tape sheets down to 7. Okay. Again, it's so cold. My fingers just don't want to get warm. Okay, what we're going to do first, you're going to take one of your 7 by 7 and we're putting it at the end. I will move more into camera after I get some placements here. Okay, that's my 1.5. Seven-inch. Okay, so here's how the setup is. 7-inch right here, 1.5-inch spine, 7 by 7, 2.5-inch, 7 by 7, 1 inch, and 7 by 7. But here's what we have to work out, is the placement of these seams. Trying to keep there, that looks good, because I want to keep the seam like on these bigger pieces. No, we need that to stay. All right, this looks like what we're going to have to do. Right here is my 7 by 7, but I'm going to try one last thing, putting this at that edge. So when I'm, trying to figure out the best way to do our covers, this. Oh, this is what we have to do. See, this is the problem. We have this odd, we end up down here, and we don't want this seam there, so because we can't go that far anymore. So our best bet, this guy's going to be in the middle here. Okay, that's how we're going to have to do this. All right. This is the first place that we've put our seam together. I'm just going to kind of mark it with my pencil there. And I've already cut my 7 by 7. So we can just start right off laying this down. No, we're going to need that. And I need my quilting ruler so I can make sure I have that inch at the bottom. And that's where my chipboard needs to meet or come to. Oops. And down that goes. Score tape for the spacer, and that's a 1/4 inch even on my folios. Now on this piece, this is the other end of the score tape when I cut it off. So I'm going to just cut it. Let's see, that one's 1 1/2. So I'm just going to cut it a little bit short of 1 1/2. So since I have this one, my next one's going to be 2 1/2. And I have 4 of those. And this one I'm going to cut just short of 1 inch in width. Okay, now we're all set with our hinges. When putting down the score tape, don't worry if it hangs over the edge just a hair, because it's not like when we do the inside cover, it's okay. Okay, down goes the ruler. And make sure. I'm just going to hold it up against my chipboard. So I put the fine piece down. Score tape for space. And our next piece is the 7 by 7. This goes so much faster with your score tape sheets. Again, my ruler set at 1 inch. I'm going to get rid of some of this over here on this side. It's going to make it easier to work with. I'd love it if my fingers would work better. They're just so cold. Well, I need to hold the ruler. There we go. Still. It wants to slide everywhere. I need 1 inch. There we go. Everything just wants to slide. Time for a new blade. We won't throw that away. So I also leave an inch at the end. That's going to help a little bit. 1 inch. No, 1/4 inch. Sorry, this is 1/4 inch core tape. I don't want to. Now you can see this is our 2.5 inch hinge, and it's going to sit in the middle of that seam. Uh-oh, did I get on? I did. Well, I need to keep where I'm going to be off here at the bottom, but I need to keep my score tape, my chipboard perfectly straight. With the chipboard, so my paper will be a little off, which is okay. I don't want my chipboard to be off. Somehow we started going uphill. I know it's because of my fingers being cold. I'm not holding it down tight, and it slipped. So when that starts to happen, we're not going to really so much worry about the chipboard then. We're going to worry about, the perfect straightness here of our cardstock. We're going to worry about this perfect straightness of our chipboard. This is our 1 inch. Oh, and Wilbur was upstairs playing with the grandkids. I thought he'd be happy and content, but no, he has now found us. So just like our other video, we may have some Wilbur voice. Some little puppy talk. Unless he wants to go in and go to sleep. Fell asleep with me, so I don't think he's going to be sleeping much. This is wrong. This was not supposed to be our 1 inch. Oh. I hope you guys aren't going to kill me. I've been doing so good. I don't know why I put this 1 inch down. So what we're going to do, if you've used score tape and you have the linen, if not, get your undo out. I don't use undo. I do. It's supposed to be this guy. I just need to cut another piece of chipboard at 1 inch. And I do believe, yes, I do still have it. I saved a chunk. like that, we cut a new one. Oh, I hope you can get that off. Now listen, if you get it off and your paper's torn, but you're using the linen, don't worry, it's okay, because there's layers there. I do apologize. So I'm not going to talk, and if I'm being really quiet, this is why. Kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. Okay, breathe now. Score tape. And that's the last of my score tape. All right, let's grab another roll of score tape. Now we can put our 1 inch down. Well, that's not the end of that. There's still more. Not much, but... All right. Now the 1 inch goes down. Quarter inch. Oh, that didn't hurt nothing. And 7 by 7. You can go bigger with this album, but now you can see why I did not go bigger. And it's a really nice size folio, actually. One inch off the end. This is how your album will start to look. Now, I'm not even going to worry about it being off there. It'll be a little bit longer. So now I'm just going to go through pushing against the edge of my chipboard. Okay, one thing here on the end. I am not going to attempt to fold this back to get my square. I'll tell you why. With that big of a paper, this long, I don't want to rip it. I can already kind of see my square. So I'm just going to fold this over, crease, and pretty much see it there just fine. Now, because we've got quite a few seams, I am just going to take my my score tool over those seams. Now watch it if you have a drop off of your mat. Make sure you're not doing this over the drop off because you will tear right through your paper. Make sure it's a solid surface. Okay, let's cut these squares out. Try not to pull. You want it to be nice, clean, square. I'm going to remove the backing of our score tape in between our seams. Just need to get rid of all this score tape backing. That way I don't have a big mess. Okay, once again, we're dealing with a very long piece for our cover. So I won't get this all in camera, but I'm going to take my 1/4 inch all the way around my chipboard on all 4 sides. I might get it in as I'm moving it. I'm putting it across the ends. Across the bottom and then across the end. Now for the top, I like to create of an inch score tape. And then we're going to use our art glue across the top there. So my 3/8 will go along the top of the chipboard. The purpose of the 1/4 inch here is to catch this bare spot in the middle. Across the bottom. And across the side. Alright, let's put that score tape all down. Get the volume off the phone so you don't have to hear that. And we're going to remove the backing to all of our score tape pieces. All right, we've got those off. Now, I'm going to take the art glue. It's going to go along the top of our chipboard. And we're going to start with this long side first. I just filled my bottle, so it's coming out a little extra heavy. Don't really want it to now. I kind of want to let it soak a little bit, and I'm just going to use my hand. One reason is, like I mentioned, remember my chipboard got a little off? I want to make sure it's pushing against the chipboard, the cardstock is, because I don't want the top anything to be wrong. So I'm going to start somewhat in the middle. I'm going to pull and get that started. I'm just going to keep working kind of fast, because you're going to feel some of the tension on your cardstock and you don't want anything to tear. And you might get some creases here and there, and that's okay. We'll get those worked out. And when you get down to this other end, you'll notice it just kind of lays down, which is really cool because it just kind of lays because of the direction we've put all this down. On the top. And I have a few areas I'll have to just fix with my cardstock on the seams. And that happens sometimes. So since we're here, let's take this opportunity to bend up the bottom again. Flip it over and add our our art glue. We're going to let that just sit for a moment, kind of soak in. I'm just going to push up on the chipboard because of its length this time. And now that this is bent over, I have this surface. All right. You'll see my cardstock's going to be off. That's because that's when I started to go off with my chipboard, but that's okay. It just means I have more over here than that side, and it's not even going to show. Make sure you're pulling down on this. There we go. Now, before we do the ends, fold this over, but don't let it adhere to the cardstock. Now, I went in there just with my scissors a little bit, so I'm going to push that over. I'm going to bend this over. I want to check and make sure that I do not have any cardstock sticking over. If I do, I'm going to trim it, but I'm not going to touch the corner. I do need to clean up that corner there. I've got a little piece of the paper that just won't let go. I'm cutting my square so as to not damage the paper. We'll just grab our emery board, which should be in your tools. Check this side. Now, like I said, I knew I cut into that paper too far on my chipboard. I'm going to bend it down. There we go. And once you are okay with the fit, and you'll feel it, it'll just bend over because the glue has softened it. You've worked it over the edge of the chipboard, nice and smooth. We're going to do the same thing. See, that side lays nice within. This one does not. Leaving the corner alone, putting my scissors here, because you do not want to cut into the corner. You'll have a hole. Again, I just have a little piece of fiber that doesn't want to let go. There. And my glue, let's push this up over. clean up the glue because it's oozing out. There we are. Okay, sometimes your linen cardstock will do this at the seams. And it's because there's so many layers. All you have to do is cut it, lightly sand. It's where that whole bunch of different layers came together. Just clean that edge off. I don't know if you can even see it. It's just a tiny piece. You can even seal it with your art glue because it won't, it'll dry clear. This happens once in a while. That's where it happened right there. And I just think it's the tension on the paper, and that's normal, but it's just on the seam. I'm going to grab my bone folder. Yeah, which one? I know I use about 3 or 4 because they do all have a different purpose. Okay. First of all, you have a piece of chipboard on the left and a piece on the right. And we need to make sure we cover that left side because we want it down on top of our card or of our score tape. And then do the right side. You'll see it take form. And right there. Using the blunt end of my Fiskars because it's a great tool for that. Because you can see this is buckling up. I can get my bone folder in there. Now, because we're going to push it down against the chipboard and onto the score tape, it's going to be almost a permanent place. I do like to turn it so then I can bend from this side. So I'm just going up against the edge of the chipboard. Because you'll see how that will grab a hold. So we'll continue doing the same thing. I'll just go all the way down doing this side and then I'll turn it over. Oops. Well, that one's really poking up. There we go. Now with this linen cardstock, no, I am not being super gentle. If I was using any other cardstock, yes, I would be gentle because I wouldn't, there's no way I could saw like this. So just test out your cardstock that you're working with. And, you know, treat it the way you know it can handle, what it can handle. Push up if you have to so that it is going over the edge of your chipboard. I knew I may have a small problem here because this is where I really got off on my cardstock. But it's nothing that's not fixable. Okay. Now you should be able to push this down. Go ahead and push this one down so we can get our crease. Do this side. And I'm also checking that I'm even there. I'm going to bring this together. All right. See, what we're looking for is, this is 2.5 inches on this end, so we wanted 2.5 inches at this end. I'm just making sure things look square. And they do. Okay. Now we need to cover the inside. Our album is going to be 6 7/8 by 12 for the inside layering cover. I'm going to start with 3 pieces. We'll be overlapping them, and I think we can do it with 3 pieces. So I like to cut them together on my cutter. If not, just make sure you do get them cut pretty much the same. They're going to be 6 7/8 by 12. We'll be using the other parts in the construction of the inside. So now I'm going to take 3 more square tape sheets, and I'm going to cut these down just a hair short of 6 7/8 and leaving them at 11.5. Because I'm wanting them to be as close to the edge as possible. Or you can use your wet adhesive or just your score tape. And we will need these strips. So I'm going to cut these strips down to 6 7/8. Well, they'll be shorter than 6 7/8. I just go up an extra strip. We're going to use them for where we're short. You'll see. Or we just may use our score tape, but I just want to have them ready. Our 3/8 of an inch score tape to fill in. We only have that 1/2 inch. So we'll see what happens. Now, if you are going to use your score tape, I would go this way. Because you want it to run all one way, but go around the edges and then across the center. And I'm going to lay this down first. I want to check it to make sure that we're pretty close in width. I'm not going to do it that way. Pretty sticky stuff. And just hold that corner down. There we go. As I get the rest of it. And one reason I love to use this, especially in videos, tutorials, it gets it done so much faster so that you don't have to sit there. You don't have to turn off the camera. Things like that. So we are just going to fill this in with our 3/8 of an inch. And 1/4 inch. And those are my 2 most used sizes. Turn this over and get rid of those. Okay, I'm going to check this. I want to make sure I don't end in any seams. And this is not hard. Do not let it intimidate you. It's actually really easy. Get your fingers back there. Yes, they're stuck. Keep them back there. And that's all there is to it. It is scary the first couple of times. Once you use it, you're going to be like, oh, where has this been? This is wonderful. And all these pieces are awesome. You can make stickers. You can do so much with them. Okay, so let's grab our next piece. One thing I do want to check. We're going to check out here. This is good. Our next piece. We're good. You can put it down at that end if you'd like. But we're going to have this covered with so much, and then use this piece in the center. I do like that better. I'm going to move this. We're going to put one down here, then we're going to just cut a little bit off of that one, and we'll overlap. So we're going to put our two ends on first. Oh, I think it went over that edge. It did. And you can bend this over. It's just normal score tape. But it really is easy to clean it up before you take the backing off, of course. My 3/8 and my 1/4. And to be honest with you, yes, this may look like overkill, but I'll tell you what, when you spend the time to do this, well, and this it cuts your album, the cover part, down in more than half. I would much rather have a little overkill. I know that it's going to last forever. So that's the reason I use it. I'm going to put this end inside the middle. And I don't feel bad about using it because I know that this cover, it's down. There's not anything that's really going to take it up. Maybe flood, fire, disaster, but it's pretty much down. So for this piece, I don't think I'm going to cut any off. We'll have some overlap there, and that's fine. Okay, now for this one, I'm going to show you. If you're using the sheets, but you're a little nervous, fold back a corner. Okay. I like to start closest to myself. Get it lined up there on that edge. Then remove the backing. But I got mine off again. So I'll just trim that. See, I got it over. Paper, angle it so I can see. I don't want to cut into my cardstock at all. Just take that edge off. Need to start putting some tools away here. So 3/8 of an inch. And that's about the use of our score tape right there. Okay, let's bring our cover in, fingers back behind there. Matching the top and the bottom. Now I'm just going to run this here. That's where that score tape was, my file. A little bit of it was sticking out and I could see it. I just wanted to clean that up. Go to Sally's and get yourself some emery boards because they'll be the best thing you have on your table. Okay, I'm matching the bottom, so the top should pretty much match since I cut these all the same size. Emery board and cheap plastic scrapers, best tools, I think. I need to clean the glue off this one. Put a few things away. Grab our bone folders again. Now, okay, you're going to see somewhat when you bend where that's at. We're not going to be sawing left to right like we were before. But you will see how much you have to now push a little harder. You don't want to force it. You don't want to break. But it should fold pretty easy with no fear of cracking. And then check your edges. See, they should be nice and smooth. Okay, let's do our center. Main thing is, let's get this top layer of cardstock, on top of that score tape. This is our 1 inch. That's the art glue. It's flake. Sometimes it's like, is my skin coming off? Now, if you can't move that hinge this freely, and if you're hearing cracking and popping, then you may not have done the 1/4 inch, but you've got to have that 1/4 inch, because that's what takes the stress off the paper. Now I'm going to lay this down, and I'm squishing back and forth, and back and forth, just to break it up and get it to work for me. I'm going to do the same here, back and forth, because you don't want it to be so stiff you can't work it. There. You should have it so it's nice and behaves itself. Isn't that cool? Now, the top here we will be building on. The top here we build on. So this is going to have a tie closure. There's really no other way. There's not going to be room for the magnets. There's just no way. We haven't even built this part yet. So let's open this. This is our first piece that goes down. And you'll notice it fits quite perfect. It's going to sit right at that edge. Going to go ahead and put this one down. We're going to put this one down, and we have the center one we can put down. The other ones we're going to build right on the book. And I had to cut those 7 by 7 bases, and I kind of got ahead of myself. Uh-oh. Oh, what happened here? Getting a little bit of a clog. Just take that tip off because I don't want this to dry. Okay. Remember, that's going to go right on the edge. Your chipboard is not a 1/2 inch longer or wider, so it's going to fit almost perfect. Okay, sit it up. Sit it up so you can get things level, even. Use the palm of your hand. There's nothing you can do. Your scraper is going to do that to black paper because black paper is black paper, but we're going to be covering it. So let me put these guys back in. Okay, there's our first one. See, it's right on the edge there. I'm going to push that forward. Just to help those corners a little bit. Push back. Okay. Now our next one, this one just kind of goes in the center. Again, it should fit quite perfectly. Oh, and make sure that you're not putting it upside down. Turn it over. And again, right at the bottom. Okay, then we cover, there we go. Perfect. Clean up any of the glue that comes out because I did use quite a bit. Sure it's not coming out there. Now I'm going to take my 6 paper right inside. Mine's mostly because there's been some glue on my scraper, it does that. And that's just because I got glue on there. What can I say? I'm messy. Transport those over. And let's just refix those little gusset areas if you need to. I'm going to put some more on the top here. Putting them right on the edge. Keep things together. Oh, I have clothespins there, silly. It's not going to go down. Okay. Okay, this section, let me get my pieces. I actually have a lot more to cut. I will give you all the measurements. And I will get this all set up, but I'm going to get this a chance to dry, get a new tip, and I'll be back. So I'm going to clean out that tip because it's not going to work here. And we will get started on building the rest of our folio. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to build these flaps first. And we're going to put them on this base, only because this can be a confusing part. Only because it would be me explaining it that it's a confusing part. Not because you can't do it, but it's because of me explaining it. You're going to cut two pieces that are 8 by 7. Okay? And again, they're just a hair short of 7. Then both pieces, I've scored both of these. You're going to score it 1/2 inch, 1 inch. Now our book. I can actually take these off now. That's tight. I think we'll just make that shorter. So this element right here is basically what this whole element, this whole section here is about, because it's all about getting tons of pictures on here. So here's what we're going to do. This first piece, we're going to have one at the bottom. Okay, like so. So this first piece is going to fold down. You will have, again, this element to the left, I fold out right here. We'll fold this down. We're going to have it again. And then this is going to flip up, and we'll have it again. Plus, we'll have a nice big spot here for pictures. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to put this down at the top. We need that 1/2 inch gusset. So I'm going to fold it like this. And it may be better to turn your book around so that you're working. Put the mouse up. I don't want to turn this video off. And you can see exactly where you're putting it, because you want it at the top, basically where your matting sits. Once you have that done, so on that first 1/2 inch, back. There we go. Get your score lines back. Now this piece is going to sit on this edge. So again, fold this like so. And let's go ahead and miter these corners. Now, right here on this edge is where that will sit. Kind of heavy on the glue. When I refill the bottles, it's like that. It just kind of likes to come out really fast. Making sure I'm pretty straight side to side. Now, one thing I'm going to look for, this might be just a hair too long, and if it is and you don't like it, go ahead and open it. Okay. I'm going to have to do it on my big cutter, but I am just going to trim a hair off of the bottom. I have such a shadow and I'm trying to keep this so straight. There we go. So see, we'll have this element here that folds out right here. We're going to have one right here. Then we're going to leave that for a nice big picture. We'll put another one down here. So, the measurements again. Because you need to cut, and I won't do this on camera, I'll get mine all cut with you. You need to get 3 sets of these cut, just like we did before. Now the only difference is I'm going to have, we do have to have the pocket. And we did that before. What am I thinking? So 3 8-inch, again, they're just short of 8-inch by 5-inch. 3 of those. Then you're going to want 3 7 by 4.5. No. Hold on a minute. Are these 4.5? No, they should only be 4. I cut them wrong. Some of them should be 4.5. Okay, so I need 2 6. So you're going to cut 6 pieces that are 4.5 by 7. 6 pieces that are 7.5 by 4. So it's just my base. I cut this wrong. It needs to be 4 by 6. I mean 4 by 7. 4 by 7. You want 3 of these. So 3 pockets, 5 by 8. 6, 7.5 by 4. 6, 4.5 by 7. 3, 4 by 6s. We'll be back and get it all put together. Okay, once we have all of those cut, let's grab our book. The first thing we want to check, just like before, and then we'll be putting these all together just like we did. And so on that opposite page, I'm checking my pocket side by side. This one looks good on top because it's sitting down here. Should furnish these up on this one. Then this one. Okay, that one's good. I'll set that one there. I know that one's good for there. And here's my next one for the cover, or the back of the cover. Oh yeah, we're good. Plenty of room. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one down first. I'm grabbing the packing tape. I'm not going through that again. Because it's driving me crazy that there are a lot of tags with this. So let's go ahead and just get everything fixed. The only way I can fix this other side is I'll be taking my paper down pretty far. So what I want to do first on this, when I do it this way, so I'm going to do the bottom first. Okay, let's push on that because we want this to dry. You want it pretty dry. Okay, and we're going to just let this sit for a moment so it can dry. Mine is dry. Now I have the packing tape, just our shipping tape. And I'm just going to cut a couple of pieces. The thing about the shipping tape, you don't want it to be super long because also cardstock really, or the adhesive won't really stick. But this way, I'm not bringing my paper down this far anyway. And I used to use this, and then I had Bonnie, my friend, say, how come you're not using that anymore? I'm like, because I always just forget, but it's great, especially when you have a lot of tags. And this is why. They will go down your pocket and not get stuck right there. So I need to get back into the habit and stop being lazy and using it. A lot of times if I don't have it next to me, I just won't use it. So now we're going to fold this back and add our adhesive to these flaps. And Wilbur's awake. Wilbur is going to probably start making a lot of noise because he's fighting with his bed. And there goes his toys. All right, let's go ahead and build our picture flaps, pop-up box, explosion box, so many names for it. Put this to the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this one on camera with you. Just like we did the other one, and it's identical. And then you can build the other two. We won't do those on camera. So you're going to take 2 of each one, the 7.5 by 4, 2 of the 4.5, one of the 4 by 7. And we scored the 4.5 along the bottom. 2 of them along the 1/2 inch along the 7. Well, along this 4 inch. On the 7.5 inch side, we scored a 1/2 inch. I'm going to grab the base. Everything will go to the back, just like before. Miter a hair, just so things don't stick over the edge. So this adhesive is going on the inside. And there's Wilbur. So I'm just going to do the bottom one. Again, cutting a little bit of that off. Checking side to side. Oh, should have done that first. Okay. Oh, I didn't turn my volumes off my computer. Sorry if you're hearing the dinging. Did I not get enough glue in there? I know I've been using a lot of glue. I've got glue smeared all over this black paper. Good thing it won't show. See, that looked, I thought that was off a little bit. Hold it tight. Fix that score line. Now, because of the cutter I have, I can trim this, and I am going to trim this so it's all even. I have the dolly. Something kind of odd there. And then our side pieces will go on. And those should be fine. We don't have to worry about those corners. minute. What's he doing? Puppy. No. And just for tonight, because it is a little chilly, I am going to take my art glue upstairs. I want to see if that's going to make a difference tonight. I know it gets pretty cold in my basement, but not, I mean, not freezing cold down here in the studio area. But it is chilly. I had it sitting by the window. Wow, something's not. Operator error is what it is. There we go. Once again, I'm going to use a large magnet. So if you don't want to use a magnet, you can use paper clips on the sides to hold this shut. Because you do need large magnets. I'm just going to get me a little scrap of paper here. So I think there we go, pull so hard. Get there. And grab our book. Now, one thing you'll notice on this one, this is going to be shorter than our pocket. And I did not tell you that in the beginning. I meant to. On this back, I wanted it to be more prominent, to look more like a layered. So that was one thing we needed to adjust also. These, we probably want to take 1/2 inch off, and I forgot to adjust that before we cut everything for the tutorial. So on these other pages, I don't want this. I only want it on the back. And we're going to cut that out, cut that off of the pocket. I'll cut 1/2 inch, or you can leave it. This is a more solid base, and I just wanted it to look a little different. Now, do you see how much better your tags will flow if you put that tape there? Now, one other thing too, you can just glue this on 3 sides, and we can have that as a pocket. So that's an option. So I think I'll do that, but you're going to want your packing tape if you're going to use this for a pocket. Keep it away from the edges. See, it takes your glue, and my fingerprints are on this book. You're only going to glue on 3 sides. So make sure you leave a spot here. Excuse me. That'll be actually really cute for the cut parts. I was going to put a strip of the Christmas ribbon there, but I think I like this pocket idea better. And if you know me, I don't write my tutorials down, so it's pretty much as I'm going along, and if things change, they change. And 4x6 pictures cut down, and you'll have a little border there. Will fit very nice. You can put it off to the side with the little writing. I really like it. So you have 9 places for pictures. 9 over there. There's 18. 18. Then you've got more up there. You've got room about. You're going to be able to get about 75 pictures in this when we're done. had a bone folder in my hand, guys. Really? Right. So I want to just. Now, just for some of the cut aparts. Slides in very nice. So I'm going to cut a 6 3/4. This is almost because it was going to be my back. So 6 3/4. I'm going to cut this one to 5 3/4. So 6 3/4 by 5 3/4. And in here, you'll be able to either use, you've got tons of scraps, or you might want to just wait and use your cut aparts, or see another one. Oh, hey, that fits really nice. See what your scraps can do for you? This one's 6 by 4. So let's just put that in there. Perfect. Now, this is where we're going to have a big picture. So now here's what you want to do. You're going to open this. It's better to work from the inside out. So you're going to repeat. You're going to build the same thing. You're going to put it down here. Cut these off a 1/2 inch, unless you want to have it like this. Okay, I'm going to cut mine down a 1/2 inch. I will build mine, and we'll be back on camera to build our other sides. And you're going to just love the them. So I'll see you back here in just a bit. Okay, I wanted to come back on camera and finish up just in case anyone is having issues, because I want to show you. So, and I want to show you where these go. This pocket's going to go here. You have one on this front. And let me explain something. When I'm making albums, I film them as I go. I actually don't have one to show you beforehand because this is a lot of work. You can see if I was to make it, write a tutorial, then make another one on camera. It is a lot of work. And since that's not my main focus of what I do, and it's not me. Once I make one, it's very hard for me to make another one. So as I'm making it, I realize now we should have built this off. Okay, but it's okay, it's working. What I did is I opened my pages, so you may want to turn it over, lay it flat. I just built this element to go here. So it's going to sit there. Excuse me. Then I built the one that goes here. I need to put that piece back down. Now, you're going to notice one thing when you put this piece on, which is really great, because it's going to also help to hold everything down. Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I had that turned down. The magnet is going to grab the back magnet, and our pages are so heavy that that you want it to hold it down. But I did put another magnet here for my closure, so it folds down. Now, one other thing that happened when I did build this on here, yeah, it was this side. I did get a little close, so I had to push this up and then just kind of re-push down, and that's okay. It helps it fit better. It's what it is that happens sometimes, but that's why we had that good 1/2 inch gusset. Then this will flip up. Now you'll kind of see where my mark is, but we're going to be putting our decorative cardstock here to really strengthen this, because this is a heavy element. But again, this is a folio. We are putting heavy elements on a folio because I don't want the hinges, and I just really like the layout. And then this was our back piece. So here we have a nice big place for the 5 by 7. I'll get that done. Here you'll have another big spot on the back here. So you've got 2 big places for pictures. Then you have all these other pictures. So what I'm going to do now is open this up. flip my book upside down. So now this is a flat surface. And this is going to go on. I'm just trying to debate. I've got it's driving me crazy over on that side. We're going to have just a little unevenness, but that's just what happens when we make things. I have to just deal with it. I know, just deal with it. Let's get our adhesive on the back. I always have to turn and see what Wilbur's eating. Okay, now. So I will make another one of these. I know I will. And next time I will build all these off before we put it on the page. One thing I want to do is put my rubber scraper there just in case any of the glue goes over the edge. Now we can open that. Open this. This. Finish that down. Now again, because this is heavy, and it'll be much better once we get pattern paper on here. Oh wait, is that the that is my pocket. That's just lint. Okay. And that's all there is to that one. Okay, so it's on record, and I'm going to write this down. We will have used 28 sheets of 12 by 12. Okay, and I want to get that down, and I want to have it recorded because we'll use 28 12 by 12 sheets for this album. Complete a black cardstock because all your scraps will be used. Now, we are going to build 2 more of those pop out elements, but they're going to be going the opposite direction. So again, 4.5 by 7. You want 2 of those. I mean, 4.5 by 8 for your pocket. The thing is, these are going to now turn the opposite direction. So I have my pocket pieces. And I know I cut 2 of these that are 4.5 by 8 for my pocket. Let me double check. 4.5 by 8. We cut one more. Because we're going to do a pocket on the inside, a pocket on the outside of this cover. So this is the very far right. So we'll have a pocket here with the flap. We'll have one here with the flaps. Then over here, we're actually going to have a place just for tags. See, and then it will close up. And we are going to tie it. Now you can see in there, you needed this space for here, and actually you're going to need it because you'll see it's going to take it up. It's so nice, and I love it when the album comes together so nice and fits. There's no bulking, pushing, alligatoring. It just makes it so much better. And it would really make it better if I would stop losing my phone folder that I score with. Okay. 4.5 inch side, we want to score on the long side half. 8 inch side, we're going to score half and half. And we want to do this to both of these pockets because we're going to build both of these elements together and we will get them stuck on. Okay. Before we go any further, I want to go ahead and now I really don't on this cardstock like to go against that mountain. That's why I'm getting, that looks much better. Okay. So now this, let me open it. This is actually going to be back this way. So I'm on a vertical pocket. Yeah. And I'm checking side to side, and it looks great. But I do want to put it down once again on a flat surface. Let's fold up our score lines. Cut our corners. I'm going to use my packing tape again. Furnish everything down really well. Now remember, the pocket's going back this way. And we want to just adhere the bottom first. Packing tape. What I'm doing is making sure it's kind of going over both seams. Because I'm just now going to fight with my tags. This one's a little long. You can use not score tape. I've used just plain old tape before, but I prefer this. Okay, let's get our sides. And this one's a little bit flatter. And I'm just going to hold these sides for just a moment. Only because I can feel it's trying to come up. So go ahead and just put some pressure on there if you have to. See, when we flip it over, and then we have the base. That's 4 inches by 7. And this time I'm checking it for a fit. Mine looks just a hair long, so I'm going to trim everything now. Our next pocket. So you need 2 of the 7.5 by 4 inches and 2 They're 4.5 by 5. I mean, 4.5 by 5. 4.5 by 7. I'm just going to recheck my cutting and trim my hair off so I have nothing sticking out. And, oops, this one's too short. This must be a base piece. There he is, because we want 4 by 7.5. Check our fit side by side. Looks good. Okay, that's my base piece. Sit down on top of my pocket. Once again, 7.5 inch side. And you know, if I was smart, I would score these and then cut. But sometimes that's hard when you're using scraps. If you take a 12 by 12 sheet, it works great. And this is really getting ridiculous. What I'm doing with my bone folders. Okay, good thing I have a lot. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Now on this one, on the 4.5 inch side, score it 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. So we'll do this one on camera. You're going to do the next one just like it. We won't do that on camera. There's no sense. We're just doing the inside. Identical. But this way I can put it on with you. Going right on the inside of that chipboard cover. And then we will build the right hand or the left hand side, and that will be the construction of our album, but of our folio. We'll need to, but then we get to decorate. And once again, I'll be using a Perfect Christmas. Just rescoring those. Put them together, make sure it all matches. And our side pieces will go on next. Make sure it's not going to stick over the edge. Oops. Is that really not straight? It's really not straight. But it will be. We're going to have to call off the extra fingers. There we go. Okay. Nope. This thing, well, it doesn't want to play nice with me tonight. Okay, that's not fair. Really? Something this easy? Are you kidding me? Okay, I need to slow down. That's the problem. And this. I won. There we go. Yeah, I like black. It's just, ugh. Unless you've got the bright sun coming in through that window. And I've got a ton of lights on. Sometimes it's just hard to see those score lines. And then out of the blue, here's all my scoreboard, my bone folder sitting right to the right of me. Why not? Top comes down. Bottom goes up. So you're going to want to have 2 packages of large magnets. Or you can use paper clip, not clothespins. Paper clips. I had some sitting here. And you can just clip them shut. Scrap piece there. Let's grab our cover. Okay. Sorry. It's going to open this way if you like. This way, this way. This way, this way. Close, 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 and close. So this edge here is towards the inside of the pocket. Like so. Well, that wasn't very smart. Let's get inside the pocket there. There we go. Making sure no glue comes out inside of that pocket there. Okay, and then this will open this way, this way, this way, this way. Take your spatula and we will, sorry, we've got some noise coming downstairs. So we're going to burnish back and forth now with our plastic scraper. Closes, 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 closes. And then when this is closed, see what we have here. So I'm going to cut a 6 3/4. I wonder what that was for. 6 3/4 by, I'll tell you here in just a second. That's 7, so I'm going to go 6 3/4 by 5 1/2. So there we have 10 pictures. Okay, that is tight. There we go. And what you're going to do is you're going to build it on the inside the same way. But let me show you. I want to get these down because this is really heavy. And there's that. Okay. Now on this side, totally up to you which side that you want to have your pocket. And then this flap right here. So you can have it on the left-hand side, or you can have it on the right-hand side. It doesn't matter. Let's see, I've got this one here at this edge. And right there is where the spine is, so there wouldn't have been paper anyway. And then you've got to just make sure you watch out for your gusset, because you definitely don't want to have that pocket stuck in there. So I'm going to put my pocket on this outside area, and then we'll pull the tag in and it will open. And so that's all we have left to do except for that left side. So I'll get this done. We'll come back on and finish the other side of our folio here on the far left. You can't see my hand there. Okay, we have, and I know it's just hard to see where it's black, but we have now this outside one with the pocket. We have this inside. So you're looking at 18, 19, 20 pictures right there. Then there's 29, 30. And I'm not going to count the spot behind there, just the tags. 30, 31, 40. Oh, I didn't make my tag, so there's going to be 41. 42, there's 50, 51, 52. 53. And 9, 62. There's 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, I'm not going to count the outside, 69, 70, just the small ones, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, so 77. Now, that doesn't include here the 2 pockets we're going to make with the 2 tags. 78, so we're going to call it 80. We're going to even that out. So this little folio that is 7 by 7 really packs a punch, and it holds 80 pictures. So we've got that established, because I know that's going to be a question. So we have one more set of pockets, and these pockets are going to go here. This is where we have that little half page when you open it. So that's tight. That's nice. So it's going here. My first piece is 8 inches by 4 inches, and then 8 inches by 3 1/2. Now, what I did was, these are just scraps. So we used the 28 sheets of cardstock to build everything. Now we're just going to be using scraps. So we need to score 1/2 inch on all 3 sides for the first pocket. For the second pocket, we're just going to score 1/2 here and 1/2 here. So we'll burnish these two sides. Then what we're going to do is burnish these, and I want to check. So I'm opening this upside down. So this is like the cover. And I'm checking it side to side. And as you can see, we've got quite a thick, fun folio here. That one looks good. And that looks good. So let's lay the top one down and decide how far from the top you would like it. And then our bottom one goes on top. I'm going to change. The linen cardstock does better if you fold with the fold and not on the mountain. Or anyway, for me it does. Now remember, we have that 1/2 inch on the bottom. Now we can actually cut this. This can be shorter. So I'm going to cut this down to 3. I don't need that much underneath that pocket. I'll admit, my fingers are a little sore tonight. So I'm doing this all in one sitting today. Because I really am excited to get this done for a person that asked for one of my other folios. And I said, no, I wanted to keep those. But I'm making her this one as a new design. And one thing I'm checking here is because we're not really meeting up on these sides. For some reason, this one is a little bit, it is longer than that one. Pull that in. That's better. Mark the bottom. Glue. I'm going to start in this edge. And get glue on everything. There we go. Just double checking. All right, let's start with the bottom. Main thing is line it up even, yeah, there we go, on the bottom, but we got to make sure side to side we're good. Yes. Now see, where we mitered, I stay away because we want the glue to attach. Oh, we have a gusset there. I don't think I'll do that. We'll just have to hold it for a moment. Whoops. There get down there and make sure things are attached. There we go, much better. Okay, mats. Once again, I'll cut 6 3/4. This one's going to be 4 1/2. This one, of course, can go down to 6 3/4 by probably 6 3/4. So let me cut 2 of them. So 6 3/4. And this was left over, and it's 5. So let me see. 5 is just fine. And yet it'll hold a nice 4 by 6 picture. Oh, you know what? Maybe we'll go 2 of them this way. And so I think that's what I'll do. I'm going to cut them both at, let me try, oh goodness. Oh no, that's the mount. It's coming up. We've got 7, so 3 1/4. Six is in that, so I'm going to go 3 1/4. That gives a 3. I'm going to go 6 1/2. I've got plenty of scraps. So 3 1/4, 6 1/2, and not quite enough. Like I said, you should just be down to like this, which is a really nice feeling. And it has to do with the way it's hooked over here. That's my problem on that side. So we'll have to just overlap them. That's okay. But they'll hold some really nice 3x5 pictures. We have plenty of space in here now. Okay. I need to see this. Oh, it's just pulling. Okay. Once we get our paper on, things will be much better. You know, no, we couldn't have done with just one. There's no way. Okay. Then we come over here. Tons of pictures. Matte. Tons of pictures. Okay, and let's cut a 6 3/4 by 6. Oh, let me see what I have left because I really don't want to. My goal here is not to cut into new papers. So we might be doing 6 3/4 by 4. Actually, we're going to go 6. 6 by 4. I'm going to do 2 of those because I got plenty of those left over. This will start working better when we get our pattern paper on. So again, I can take this off and throw them away. Absolutely loaded with picture space. And let's see what I can cut with this one. It looks like I can do, yep, 6 3/4. So I had a 6 3/4 by 4 1/2. So that would give us some variance. Trim out. That's where I had bored it. So I'll give us some variance on our sizes of mats. We already cut these mats, so awesome. They're ready to go. Ton more photo space. And tons more photo space. So on the inside here is where I'll be using, I'm going to use the Dots and Stripes Christmas collection. And it goes really well with not only Twas the Night Before Christmas, but also Perfect Christmas. And that's what's going to go on the inside of all of these so that we can really get use out of our pattern paper. Then we have our mat. Oh, did we do our mat here? Yes, we did. And then here, ton more space. Closes up, and we will have a tie closure to this, and we'll be ready to mat tomorrow. So now you'll have time to go through and get this all made up and done, and I'll get back to working on it tomorrow. So I'll be back with my pattern paper. Okay, the one thing I wanted to show you, when I opened my pack of, this is a brand new pack of A Perfect Christmas. You get one sheet of each design. What I did is I went through and took out the cut-aparts. Some of the cut-aparts I'm going to use, so I'm turning over. I'm going to use the paper. Love that one. So I just kind of stacked them right in order. And that's the order I'm going to grab each one from. So let me show you. Because it's too hard to sit there and decide, oh my gosh, which one I'm going to do. So my first sheet was, this is the back, front, whichever, one side. And that's the one I chose, our pocket. This is the white one. Floral in the middle. Something on there. And then this at the top. Now I took the tags out, all the mounts, tags. I'll mount them at the end with all my leftovers. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to mount this, and that middle side. This right hand side I'm not going to do on camera because this video is going to end up being super long. But I'll do the walkthrough. You'll be able to see the complete finished project. And it's just a matter of going through and matting. And I'll show you the dots and stripes that I used. And I didn't want to start off getting glue on my pattern paper because it does, this is not the type of paper you want to get wet or anything on. Okay, the floral is going to go in the center. I'm going to go a little lighter on my adhesive. Trying to keep that straight. Wow, everything needs to go in the dishwasher tonight, that's for sure. You'll be able to see the decorations. Also, I'll be doing it very similar to the smaller folio I made and put on YouTube this week. So the only dimensions, remember, you're working with 7 inches, which is nice. Basically, you're working with 7 inches, so you will cut your mattings 6 7/8. And then the pockets, I just measure in. They're usually about 3 inches. I don't go all the way down, of course. Because you don't have to cover all the way down. Making sure nothing's stuck. Okay. Then, yeah, that was the map for here. And I like to do these at the end with scraps. Okay, there's those, and I'll come back and then decorate. So the next sheet was this one. That's the back, and we'll be using it on the inside also. All right, when I cut that, it fits. Well, let me see something. Let's put the red down first. That doesn't fit. Let me trim this. Two and a half. It needs to be 2 3/8. That is 2 3/8. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. There we go. Now it's 2 3/8. Now these are all of the inside matting and the pocket, the tags that'll go in here. Everything in this line just really goes so well together. It was a well thought out collection, I think. Now, a lot of times the back sides just don't coordinate with the front side, and this just does. It looks just really look good together. I know it really caught my interest, that's for sure. Okay, now if you remember, we have smaller one went here. The taller, oops, one went inside of here. There we go. Okay, so I continued on with the same collection. I cut these to match. They were 4 3/8 by 3 7/8. Oh, that's right. We don't have the magnet. Holding that down. So the floral will go on the outside, and the red will go on the inside. Because matting it's very straightforward and simple, and it is somewhat of a personal preference as to how you want yours to look. But I will have the walkthrough, so if you need, or want to do any ideas that I did. But, we do just have a lot of similar pieces and parts that we just need to mat and put together. So now we're going to do the red on the inside. And oh, there it is. I'm saying, if I've lost a mat piece, I'm not going to believe it, because how do you lose a piece of matting? But I see it. Try not to rub too much. For some reason, I like my plastic scraper. There's no oils or anything to rub off the paper. Okay. This is pretty long, so the red is also going on the bottom. And I had cut the polka dots, but I'm not sure I really am happy with the polka dots. I might be with this in between, but there's no way, hold on, that I used all of this up. It just seems odd that there's no way I used all that up. I'm just checking my scraps here to see if I accidentally threw it back in. And I do have a piece. Okay. I'm going to go ahead with one polka dot, and I'm going to cut these to fit. So they're 3 7/8 by 2 3/4, and then this one is also going to be 2 3/4. I don't want all 3 polka dots, but I don't mind the one set of polka dots. There we go. I like that much better. Now the one thing about the patterns and stripes that is also nice is the back is somewhat subdued, but doesn't match quite. Those white edges inked real quick. Sorry, I'm not doing it over the camera because, once again, it's time for a new sponge. Oh, this is hard on the black. Driving me crazy. As you can see, that's off. So we're going to have to do some embellishing there. Oh yeah, that'll be an easy fix. Yeah. Oh, that and look how the color is just not, wow. So I'm just going to stick this in my cutter and cut it down to 3 7/8 really quick. There we go. We'll just even that right up where my paper, I cut it short. Now remember, this has to go clear to the top to cover that 1/2 inch that we used to connect with. I'll finish this one up tonight. Did we put 2 in here? No, these 2 go over here. Just want to try and keep things where they were so I don't. There we go. Okay. So, oh yeah, the middle part. So now I went with the green plaid, which has the ornaments on the back side. Take the mats out really quick. These are getting smashed. Okay. So red dots there. These are going on the outside and outside. Green plaid. That was left from over there. Well, there we go. Around, I kind of bent that edge and get some more of that red up there at the top. Then that one. Oh, that's too bright. And then my ornaments will go on the outside. With the green plaid on top. Or we can go ornaments, ornaments, or ornaments, and let's see, green plaid. Trying to keep some of the green there. All right, I'm going to put down the pockets first. Sideways so I can see somewhat of what I'm doing. I'm making a mess. And remember, we have that score line that has that small gusset there. Oh, wow, goodness. Yes, I was pulling hard in hopes to just move it, but man, it was stuck already. Nope. There we go. Now, as I recall, one of these, yep, is shorter than the other. It goes at the bottom. Again, this is going to be covered with pictures. And remember, we have that little gusset area still we want to stay away from. Oh, no, that goes on the inside. I'm glad I caught that. This one's on the inside, so we can close that. Grab our glue. Because the green buffalo plaid will go on the outside. Okay. Again, I have one that's just like a 1/16 of an inch shorter, and it goes to the bottom. So I'm going to put I'm going to put my ornaments on top. I'll put the plaid on the bottom. Oh, does that look like it's not? It's not. Kind of you're injecting your paper. I like that fine tip on these bottles. Don't forget, during the winter, even though the art glitter glue is not shipping and we can't, because we can't ship it in cold weather, we are stocking the tips and the replacement pins. Okay, I need to make sure that this is not... I have that gusset there. I'm going to take just a little tiny bit off. There we go, much better. Just trying to get those edges sealed. There we go. So the glue will stay inside where it belongs. And our mouth. Long one at the top, shorter one at the bottom. This one doesn't have our tape, so they're not as user-friendly, but they're still good. That's strong, that magnet. I'm surprised it even through all that. Okay. And now let's do the center. Okay, now for this one, I chose the reindeer. So my little reindeer is going to be there, and I'm going to have one on the front here. Okay, for the inside, I got another one of this because we're going to use the plaid. Now this is the black polka dot, and it has subdued on that side. So the polka dot's going to go all inside. This has tags on the back. So we're going to put down the black polka dot here on the inside. So let's do that first. Otherwise, whoops, you would need 2 packs of your Perfect Christmas. So really either way, if you want 2 packs of your Perfect Christmas, or 1 pack of Perfect Christmas and 1 pack of Dots and Stripes, the Christmas, or you just want to use your own coordinating cardstock, either way. I don't know why that's too long. That one is not. I don't think I did the 6 and 7 8. I think I did 7, or 3 and 7 8. So I'm going to have to check those and cut them. If so, I'll do this off camera. But then you get the magnet. Now this is just going on the inside. And Christmas and polka dots always go well together. Hey, that was a really good catch. I didn't get glue on anything. Polka dots and Christmas, I think, go really well together, along with the plaid. Open you up. And close you so you can flatten it. is where you'll start noticing the thickness. So you have to do some reburnishing. So let me now put this on the outside because I'm going to do the little reindeers in plaid. We will be matting all of the inside hinge pieces too. I'm going to do that pocket area. Okay, this is pretty tight, you'll notice. As we mat, add more layers, things get tighter. It's getting to be time for a new cloth. Fold this down and I was supposed to do the reindeers and get in here and I didn't. Oh, there it is. I didn't cut it the right way, but I did. That's what I like about the Prima inks. Unfortunately, you know, they don't have the refill, so they didn't sell well, but they sure don't smear. It's the black paper that you see that smears. Because the black paper is dyed, there's nothing you can do. But it's nice when the ink doesn't smear. Okay, and let's put our plaid in. That one's going to go on the inside. Because when matting this, you have to have 9 pieces, remember. So the plaid I used, it was left over, so. And then this will be, I'll finish the video here. You'll be able to go in now and finish matting because now you've got the idea. The walkthrough will be available the same time that the tutorial's up so you can see what I've done. And remember, we did use 28 sheets of 12 by 12 cardstock. One collection pack of the Perfect Christmas, and I'll be using, I'm sure I won't use all of the dots and stripes Christmas. And I will be using the sticker sheets, the ephemera, everything I used on my small other folio. That is up. Of course, it's not this big, but I did use a lot of paper. It was 8 by 8, and actually it holds quite a few pictures too for its size. But this one, you know, we counted, we're looking at 80 plus, depending on how you cut them. If you're not going to do full 4 by 6s, and that was doing full 4 by 6s. So say I cut them down and hid them, because this is 7, made them 3.5 by 3. Get rid of that waste. You know, you're looking at 160 pictures. So this one has quite a punch, and I like the black. All right. Oops, that comes down. That goes up. Now some of these are pretty good size mats, and I'll be honest with you. I think I'm going to cut this down. 5.5. It also, like I said, it's big. I want those reindeers to show. Okay, there's that side. So now go through and we'll just do the exact same thing with what you like, because this is a lot of matting. Mostly it's these pop out elements we did. So you have 1, 2, 3 of them here, 4, 5 more. So just get all your papers cut. That's all it is to your matting. And then I'll have the walk through the cover, and I will be putting a ribbon around it. So the ribbon's going to come all the way around. And then I'll decorate on top of the ribbon, and it'll tie on the sides. So that is our 7 by 7 folio. And as you can see, it just fills up really nice. You still have lots of room in there for pictures. And I hope you enjoyed this. I'd like to say little project. It's not. It started out as a little project, and it just kept growing and growing. So be sure if you make yours to show us. I'd love to see your finished project over at Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations. Thank you, everyone, and I'll get this all formatted. Good night.